Welcome to World News. Tonight, Queen Elizabeth II gives America the royal treatment. Her visit combines history with a very modern message. Iraq summit, a rare meeting between the U.S. and Syria. Is the Bush administration changing policy, talking with states it says sponsor terror? Insult to injury. Millions in bonuses went to Veterans Affairs officials, while wounded veterans were suffering from substandard care. And running with it. The new racetrack material that might save the lives of horses like Barbara.
From ABC News headquarters, this is World News with Charles Gibson.
Good evening. The British are not only coming, they've arrived. Queen Elizabeth is on American shores for the first time in 16 years. When Paul Revere warned the British were coming 232 years ago, there was fighting ahead. Now, when the British monarch comes to America, people fight to see her, meet her, shake her hand. The U.S.-British alliance, said the Queen today, is one of the most durable international collaborations in the world. ABC's Nick Watt is covering the Queen's visit tonight in Williamsburg, Virginia. Nick?
Charlie, one of the Queen's first engagements was a private meeting with the survivors and the families of some of those killed at Virginia Tech. Her way of quietly marking a very recent tragedy. But Charlie, this trip is largely about history. Moments ago, the Queen pulled into Williamsburg, where George Washington massed his troops before their decisive victory over the British. Independence from this Queen's ancestors soon followed. Tomorrow, she'll head to Jamestown to commemorate the 400th anniversary of the first English-speaking settlement in North America. Thousands waited in the rain for the Queen to arrive at the state capitol in Richmond.
Britain has been a wonderful ally of the United States and vice versa. And, you know, right now they're the only parent country in Europe who, you know, is nice to us.
29,000 Virginians entered a lottery to win just 100 coveted front row spots for the Royal Walkabout. Inside, some rare public words from the Queen.
The melting pot metaphor captures one of the great strengths of your country and is an inspiration to others around the world as we face the continuing social challenges ahead.
The governor set up a telephone etiquette hotline, advice of what to do should the Queen approach. Don't touch her, do call her ma'am, and if you're an American citizen, there's no need to bow or curtsy.
It's the Queen of England.
In Jamestown, Virginia,
the Queen was last in Virginia for Jamestown's 350th anniversary back in 1957.
once the pesky colonies who revolted against the crown, but who now welcome and acclaim Her Majesty.
She's still welcome.
Native Americans suffered dearly when the English landed, so we're not celebrating our sufferings for sure.
But you're still happy to welcome the Queen?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes, we are.
This weekend, the Queen is off to Kentucky. She's going to the Derby. She is a lifelong fan of horse racing, really fulfilling one of her dreams. But then, Monday morning, she's back at work. She'll be in Washington for, among other things, a state dinner with the President. Charlie?
All right, Nick Watt down in Williamsburg, Virginia. Thanks. Next, we turn to a major diplomatic effort to end the war in Iraq. Officials from the U.S. and dozens of nations met in Egypt today, but one single conversation got all the attention. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice meeting her counterpart from Syria. Repeatedly, the Bush administration has said it would not meet with nations like Syria it says sponsors terror. But meet they did today. ABC's Jim Sciutto reports from Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt.
Of the 60 countries represented here, it was a meeting between just two of them, the U.S. and Syria, that marked the biggest change. In an interview with ABC News, Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice called the meeting important.
You yourself said in January of this year that direct negotiations, in your words, would put us in the role of supplicant. Why now?
It's not a bad chance to remind the Syrians of their obligations, to talk to them about the need to stop the flow of those foreign fighters, the biggest source probably of suicide bombers.
Just today, U.S. commanders in Iraq said Syria was making progress, stemming the flow of insurgents across Syria's border into Iraq. Secretary Rice also met briefly with her Iranian counterpart, though her spokespeople went out of their way to downplay the encounter as no more than a hello. Still, the end of the Bush administration's long-term refusal to speak with Syria or Iran is one sign of the urgency felt here. The largest summit since the U.S. invasion is rallying international support to stabilize Iraq, granting Iraq $30 billion in debt relief in return for political reforms, including promises by Iraq's Shiite-dominated government to boost Sunni participation, something Iraq's foreign minister seemed less than keen to support.
The Sunni are represented in the government, actually. The government has no problem with Sunni participation.
Washington wants to help the Shiite-led Iraqi government, but the Sunni leaders of Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia do not want to empower the Shiites of Iraq or Iran.
They can work with each other if the neighbors want the violence to stop spilling out on them.
Iraqi officials now want the U.S. to meet formally with Iran. But tonight, the Iranians and Americans avoided a second meeting, the Iranian foreign minister leaving a dinner hosted by Egypt just as Secretary Rice arrived. Charlie?
Jim Shudo reporting tonight from Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. A Pentagon panel warned today that repeat deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan are increasing the risk of mental health problems for U.S. troops. The panel said more than a third of those who have served in Iraq and Afghanistan suffer post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injury. For National Guard troops, the percentage is higher, and there's not enough money for military health care to deal with it. The Veterans Administration is often accused of providing inadequate health care and other services to the nation's veterans. So there was outrage today when it was learned that officials of the VA received millions of dollars in bonuses this past year. ABC's Jonathan Karl has the story.
It was hardly a banner year for the VA.
$35.3 billion.
Budget problems, management problems, and the mistreatment of wounded veterans. Problems so great, the president appointed a high-profile commission to clean up the mess. So how did the VA deal with it? For one, it doled out big bonuses to senior executives. $3.8 million worth of bonuses last year.
We are rewarding failure. These are the people who are supposed to serve our veterans, and when they screw up or fail at their job, we should not be rewarding them with lucrative bonuses.
The average bonus for VA executives was nearly $17,000, the highest of any federal agency. 10 VA executives received bonuses of $30,000 or more. At the World War II Memorial today, veterans reacted with disbelief.
Wow, unbelievable. Yeah, that's somewhere. That money's going the wrong spot.
It makes me feel that somebody's not doing their job, and that the money is probably not going to where it should go to.
Today, the Federal Personnel Management Agency told us bonuses are supposed to go to those who earn them.
You wouldn't certainly expect to get one. Executives earn their bonuses based on performance, and the bonuses are discretionary.
A $33,000 bonus went to the executive in charge of VA benefits, a system beset by backlogs VA Secretary Jim Nicholson has called unacceptable.
The idea that this guy is going to get $33,000 for failing to do his job well is absolutely outrageous.
The VA refused to do an on-camera interview with us, but in a written statement said the bonuses are necessary to keep employees who would be making more money in the private sector. But Charlie, veterans advocates are not buying that. As one told me, if these people were in the private sector, they would be fired.
Jonathan Karl reporting tonight from the Pentagon. Overseas, more than 100,000 Israelis rallied in Tel Aviv this evening demanding Prime Minister Ehud Olmert's resignation after a government investigation denounced his handling of the war in Lebanon. A cross-section of Israelis turned out, moderates, hardliners, secular, and religious. A rare mix reflecting the widespread dissatisfaction with Olmert. But Olmert is trying to hold on. In this country today, we learned that presidential candidate Barack Obama has been given Secret Service protection. He is the first of the presidential candidates to receive it, and our chief Washington correspondent, George Stephanopoulos, is joining me now. And George, you worry a little bit when you hear this. Is this a result of any specific threat or based on general concerns? Because I don't think I've ever heard of a candidate getting Secret Service protection this early.
Not this early before, Charlie. No single specific threat, but Senator Obama has received several threats over the course of the campaign, and there's a concern that because he's drawing such large crowds, he's more vulnerable to an attack. So here's what happened. In April, Senator Dick Durbin from Illinois, his colleague, went to the Democratic leader in the Senate, Harry Reid, pressed these concerns. Senator Reid took that to Secretary of Homeland Security Michael Chertoff, who heads a review board that makes this decision. They went through all the variables. They said that Senator Obama deserves the protection. He got it today.
But very quickly, both he and his wife have raised concerns about race. Nothing to do with that in this instance?
Oh, it certainly plays into this, Charlie. As Senator Obama has said, it was a concern for Jesse Jackson. It was a concern for Colin Powell. It's a concern for Barack Obama.
All right, George Stephanopoulos down in Washington. Still ahead on this broadcast, the government's strong new warnings on antidepressants, issued despite objections they might do more harm than good. We'll take a closer look at one of the biggest debates in medicine. What's behind a dramatic increase in asthma and allergies? The mounting evidence blaming global warming. And the revolutionary change, making one of the oldest sports safer. A legacy of the beloved racehorse, Barbaro.
This is World News with Charles Gibson. Brought to you by Mrs. Dash.
Add a capful of Mrs. Dash and watch your dinner move. 14 natural herbs and spices, no salt, no MSG. It's a deliciously bold way to give the same old a good shake. Mrs. Dash. And try the 10-minute marinades from Mrs. Dash. Salt-free, flavorful.
Holes. The advanced technology behind Tylenol Rapid Release Gels. Laser drill design for rapid release.
Soft. Charmin Ultra is our best ever. It's so soft you'll want more, but you can use less. You can use less because it's more absorbent than the leading value brand. Our softest for sure, less is even more.
Presenting Miracle Grow Liquifeed, the only garden feeder that works with ready-to-use liquid Miracle Grow. It's a revolutionary way to grow a great garden. Liquifeed makes feeding as easy as watering. No measuring, mixing, or guessing. Just attach, insert, and feed. Plants get the perfect balance of water and nutrients to grow twice as big. Now, nothing can hold you or your garden back. Liquifeed from Miracle Grow.
I've lived here all my life. I'm not going anywhere. I've made arrangements for assistance if I need it. I'm a realist. I know I'll be old one day.
Long-term care coverage from Mutual of Omaha Insurance Company.
People will do just about anything to keep from having to eat to get their fiber. That's why we've worked hard to develop things to help them. The famous fiber patch, that was mine. Fiber Pops, the near award winner. Fiber optics, fiber. Bill, he's part fiber. For me, I just go with these all-brand yogurt bites. Crunchy flakes with yogurty clusters. Wish I had the patent on these little guys. And with 3 times as much fiber as the leading supplement, I mean, if everyone tried these for a couple weeks, what would they need me for?
Tonight, we take a closer look at the debate over treating young people with antidepressants. On this broadcast, we reported recently on a major study that said the dangers to young people from the drugs were overstated. Still, the FDA has just expanded warnings to include 18 to 24-year-olds, saying they, like children and teens, could be at increased risk of suicidal thoughts and behavior because of the drugs. It is a very important debate. Are antidepressants safe for young people or not? Here's ABC's Lisa Stark.
The new expanded warnings on antidepressants come just a month after a study in the Journal of the American Medical Association found the benefits of antidepressants in adolescents clearly outweigh the risk. Many doctors today are worried the FDA's move will do harm by steering people away from medications they desperately need.
When you look at the whole evidence puzzle in general,
all the pieces pretty much point in the same direction, that antidepressants save lives, and that untreated depression is what kills people.
In fact, in 2004, the first year the FDA issued warnings on antidepressants, use of these drugs dropped 20%, and teen suicides increased for the first time in more than a decade. Still, the FDA defends its decisions to issue the black box warnings. The risk of suicidal thoughts and behaviors in children on these drugs is about 1 in 100 patients.
I don't feel bad that we told people the truth about what the drugs do. I mean, that's our job, and it's the company's job to do it.
Hannah Stotland says antidepressants saved her life.
I'm concerned that anything that the government does to increase people's fear of psychiatric medications might discourage some people from seeking treatment that could save their lives.
The FDA insists it's not telling patients to avoid antidepressants, but to use them carefully and with close monitoring by doctors. It's a highly emotional debate. Dr. Andrew Leon sat on the panel that advised the FDA to expand the black box warnings. He concedes it may be years before we know whether this action ultimately benefits or hurts those fighting depression.
This action by the FDA could actually result in a very large public health experiment.
One that doctors can only hope will help patients balance any benefits of these drugs with the risks. Lisa Stark, ABC News, Washington.
And if you have questions about giving antidepressants to young people, our medical unit is ready to answer them. That's at our website, abcnews.com. Coming up, the allergy and asthma spike being blamed on global warming.
We're all about the environment.
So we'd like a place that uses solar power, wind power, maybe even methane.
Maybe not methane.
Find your perfect place at RE/MAX.com. RE/MAX.com shows you all the listings in thousands of cities and towns. See all the listings. Visit RE/MAX.com today.
My kids call me the finisher. Finish up in there.
Okay.
Finish your homework?
Yes.
Finish your vegetables. Something I thought I was finished with? Managing my acid reflux disease. I thought it was just bad heartburn, but my doctor said over time, stomach acid was damaging the lining of my esophagus. She prescribed Nexium. Said I needed more than heartburn relief. My esophagus needed repair. One prescription Nexium pill a day not only relieves my heartburn, it healed erosions in my esophagus. So I don't just feel better, I am better. My doctor did say headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain could be side effects of Nexium, and other serious stomach conditions may still exist.
Talk to your doctor about Nexium, the healing purple pill, and find out if a free trial is right for you.
I tell him you shouldn't do anything halfway. Let's finish up.
If you're without prescription coverage and can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Now you can choose your perfect summer radiance. New Aveeno Continuous Radiance Lotion lets you customize your color with dial technology. The soy formula and a gradual color booster enhance your natural skin tone.
Get summer radiant skin anytime.
New Continuous Radiance.
Hi, I'm Tony Santori, and this is my story. I love cooking for my family. I love cooking for my friends. Mostly Italian food. That's my passion. I love to get in there and really do it up right. I like to flip it. I like to make a show out of it. I have arthritis in my shoulders. It stopped me from cooking for a long, long time. Once I take a leave, the pain dissipates. It makes it bearable, very, very bearable for me. I'm pain-free. I'm up there with my pots and pans, stirring everything, flipping everything. The league gave me my Italian back. I got news for you. Now I'm out there doing everything I want to do.
Look at all this room!
It's an enterprise rental heading toward a weekend adventure at 50% off. That's Friday to Monday, 50% off. Most cars, most weekends, most neighborhood locations. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Tomorrow, the sign on this small church says all are welcome. Now, a registered sex offender is sorely testing that principle. It ripped us apart. It's a wrenching test of faith. Tomorrow on World News with Charles Gibson.
In Texas today, much of the state was belted by severe storms for a fourth straight day. Tornadoes, flooding rains, lightning, and winds of 100 miles an hour have made a mess across a wide stretch of central Texas. At least 3 people have been killed, and about 200,000 homes around Dallas had no power today. There is intriguing new evidence about what is behind an increase in two of the most common health problems, allergies and asthma. It's no mystery that such respiratory problems can be triggered by the weather, but what about weather changes on a global scale? Here's ABC's Bill Blakemore.
It's a montage of misery. Sneezing, dripping, eye-watering, and worse, there's more of the dangerous asthma that's closely linked to these allergies.
They cause a lot of pollen suffering.
What's going on? We asked an allergy doctor.
What we're seeing is a super mega pollen burst. It's the first time I've seen young people, elderly people coming in saying, Doc, I've never had this before. This is something new. We've seen increase in asthma doubling from 1980 to 2004.
Why?
We're seeing more pollen production, probably as a result of greenhouse gases, global warming.
There's now new evidence for that in U.S. cities, which are typically warmer than the countryside.
75 degrees Fahrenheit. It's about 5 degrees Fahrenheit warmer here than it is at the rural site.
And which have more CO2 due to all the cars. Plants love extra warmth, and CO2 is their basic food.
They're creating monster weeds.
Scientist Louis Ziska of the U.S. Department of Agriculture has found the higher CO2 and temperatures in cities makes weeds grow faster and produce much more pollen, and even makes pollen-producing trees grow much faster.
Here's an oak tree that's 7 to 8 foot tall.
Scientists say that since average temperatures and CO2 levels have both been going up in the past few decades, all part of climate change, that may help explain why the misery index has been going up too. They're also investigating other possible causes such as new molds and pollutants. But there's growing evidence that the greenhouse effect is not only spurring the growth of more beautiful trees and flowers, but also the misery-producing pollen that comes with all their lovely blossoms. Bill Blakemore, ABC News, New York.
One of America's great space pioneers died today in October 1962. With America locked in a great space race with the Soviets, Wally Schirra blasted off, becoming this country's third astronaut to orbit the Earth. He said from his Mercury capsule, "I'm having a ball up here drifting." But he knew as well it was serious business.
We must advance. We feel that what we're doing has a great benefit to come.
As one of the original Mercury 7 astronauts, Schirra's name and legacy are intertwined with America's other early space heroes, John Glenn, Gus Grissom, and Alan Shepard. But Schirra was the only one who went on after the Mercury missions to fly in NASA's Gemini and Apollo programs. Wally Schirra died near San Diego. He was 84. And when we come back, the effort to make racetracks safer. It may be Barbaro's most important legacy.
Cholesterol. It can come from bow tie pasta, but also from your grandfather Bo. From that pie, creamy banana. And your mom, Juliana. A healthy diet is important. When that's not enough, adding Vytorin can help. Cholesterol comes from two sources, food and family. Vytorin treats two sources. Only Vytorin helps block the absorption of cholesterol from food and reduces the cholesterol your body makes naturally. Vytorin was also proven in clinical studies to lower bad cholesterol more than Lipitor alone, more than Crestor alone. Vytorin is not for everyone, including people with liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Tell your doctor right away about unexplained muscle pain or weakness, which may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Certain medicines or foods may increase your risk of getting this serious side effect. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. So eat right, stay active, but if that's not enough, ask your doctor about adding Vytorin, two sources of cholesterol. Treat them both with Vytorin.
A lot of people are taking a look at the new Mercury lineup, and now they're taking a listen. Because select Mercury models come with 3 years of Sirius satellite radio. Even on the new 2008 Mercury Mariner, the Mercury Milan, and the Mercury Mountaineer, with the best radio on radio, with over 130 channels, all hooked up and ready to go. Lease the new Mariner for $249 a month and get no-charge Sirius satellite radio and a 3-year paid subscription. You've got to put Mercury on your list.
It's 30 shrimp at Red Lobster. Mix and match your two favorites like decadent scampi, creamy pasta, hand-breaded, or try new savory garlic grilled shrimp. It's 30 shrimp for $12.99, only at Red Lobster.
If pain is keeping you from sleeping at night, but you're afraid to take prescription sleep aids, you should know Tylenol PM is different. And when used as directed, it has not been shown to cause dependency.
Don't you wish your mouthwash could kill germs without the burn of alcohol? Crest Pro Health, like the leading mouthwash, kills 99% of common germs that can cause bad breath, plaque, and gingivitis, but without the burn of alcohol. Crest Pro Health.
I've lived here all my life. I'm not going anywhere. I've made arrangements for assistance if I need it. I'm a realist. I know I'll be old one day.
Long-term care coverage from Mutual of Omaha Insurance Company.
The D.C. Madam and her high-priced escort service. It's the way some of Washington's most powerful like to play. Now, Friday, she tells all.
I'll bring every last one of them in.
Plus, 2020's at it again.
This is a scam.
Taking on some of the biggest myths out there. Friday.
It's the shocking video and arrest everyone's buzzing about. She was pulled over speeding to the hospital because... But this policeman shows her no mercy.
Now you're going to jail.
Tomorrow, she tells her story for the first time, only to Good Morning America.
Finally tonight, they'll run the Kentucky Derby Saturday. And last year, of course, Barbaro won the race and won our hearts at the same time. He was something special until tragic injury just weeks later in the Preakness. Now, many racetracks have installed a new racing surface designed to save horses like Barbaro. ABC's Dean Reynolds went to the races to check it out.
After the cheering stops and the excitement dims, the sport of kings has a problem.
Barbaro! I believe he's being pulled up!
And the indelible image of Barbaro, in distress at last year's Preakness, has called attention to it. It's estimated there are about 2 fatal injuries on horse tracks in the United States every day. Leg fractures mostly, and increasingly, the sand and clay tracks are being blamed.
It's hard and then soft, hard and then soft. You're going to turn an ankle, twist an ankle, may possibly even break an ankle.
So officials at Keeneland Racetrack in Lexington, Kentucky made a $9 million bet on a new surface called Polytrack. It's made up of fibers, rubber, and silica under a waxy coating, a combination with more spring than sand.
Easier on their legs, their shins, their ankles, their knees.
The synthetic doesn't kick back into the faces of horses as much, and it drains easily, so the surface is never sloppy. Derby challenger Dominican likes it.
It is easier for the horses. I mean, they're covering the ground a lot more easy.
So more horses have a shot at winning.
The Polytrack creates tremendous entertainment for the public because the race is not over until the wire. You just don't know who's going to win.
Trainers, including Barbaros, seem to think synthetic is the way to go.
Do you think it'll save horses?
Yes, I do. No one can say if this surface would have saved Barbaro's life, but his injury and death clearly expedited its installation at tracks beyond this one.
Arlington Park near Chicago has it now, and tracks in California will have it soon. Hallowed Churchill Downs isn't ready yet.
If the artificial surfaces can enhance safety over a period of time, then we're all for them, tradition or not.
Racing, after all, should be about winning and losing, not life and death. Dean Reynolds, ABC News, Lexington, Kentucky.
And one more note, we began this program with Queen Elizabeth. We ended in like fashion. You almost always see her in hats. So how many hats did she bring on this visit? Lots. Today we saw the royal hatmen, I guess, unloading all her hat boxes. They needed a separate vehicle to carry them all. A bevy of bonnets for a long weekend in the colonies. And that's World News for this Thursday. I'm Charlie Gibson. I hope you had a good day. For all of us at ABC News, have a good night.